What made you choose BJJ over other combat sports? Why did I choose Jiu Jitsu over other combat sports? That's a good question, mashed potato. I think I chose Jiu Jitsu over, say, boxing or Muay Thai or kickboxing or wrestling. First of all, because I got into Jiu Jitsu as an adult. I didn't have the benefit entering combat sports of like people who grew up wrestling throughout like middle and high school or even as a kid. I like decided as an adult in college that I was like, I want to learn combat. And I think jiu-jitsu is like, I was a big MMA fan at the time, and I was like, jiu-jitsu is like, it's part of everything. Anytime you watch a fight, even if you're not watching like a fight on TV, if you watch a fucking fight on the street, there's jiu-jitsu everywhere if you know what you're looking for. At some point, every fight goes to the ground, you know, for the most part. And like people are grappling, whether or not they know how to, or they know that they're doing it, they are. And I thought that that would have been a really cool life sport to get into. And I also knew that a lot of people get into jiu-jitsu as adults, and a lot of people do jiu-jitsu through their 40s, 50s, 60s. They do it for life. It's a life sport. There's like longevity to it. You're not getting your head pounded in like a boxer. You're not, I mean, there's injuries in jiu-jitsu for sure, but you're not taking like residual damage on a regular basis if you're doing everything right. And it felt like a very cool life sport. So I started it in college. I did it very briefly at a couple schools in college. And then I couldn't actually really afford to keep my membership. So I just kind of practiced with my brother when he would come visit me at school and during summer. And then, you know, however many years ago, 5 years ago, I started up and I decided I was like, I'm going to do this seriously. And it's, yeah, I love it so much. It's one of the biggest things that I've had to give up because of COVID. I haven't done it since February. What belt are you? I'm a purple belt. I have a few stripes on it. I feel like I was on track for my brown belt in the spring, but I stopped training because of COVID. And yeah, but I love jiu-jitsu so much, dude. I would recommend anyone who's looking for like a life sport to get into. Big Sad, you were on a roll. I was literally on a roll, Royce. Nice. As a 3rd degree black belt, you'll get there. Oh, Dana, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah. You set these like, these weird arbitrary goals for yourself. You're like, for me, it was like, oh, I'm gonna get my black belt by the time I'm 30. And this year really fucked that up, but nothing even really matters. I mean, I just love training so much. I just want to train forever. Some jits humor. You like that, Kate? You like the jits humor?
Wish everyone and their families the best in club.
What's your favorite song from Hannah Montana the movie? Yeah, The Climb, that one. My cousin went to a jiu-jitsu class, and right away they were practicing rear naked chokes. They were supposed to tap them out. They felt... Okay, so the problem, Kai Pai Marie, the problem, like with anything, is when you have like bad schools that give a bad name for the sport. It sucks. I've been lucky enough to find a really, really great school. If it's even going to be there after quarantine. Favorite non-combat sport? Baseball, 100%. One coat black from Hollow Taco? Yep, you know it. You know it. I started BJJ just before I moved, just before COVID for the same reasons, because in Australia we don't do wrestling in high school, but I moved away from my BJJ gym. I'm trying to my hand at boxing. Yeah, I was always like, when I decided to get into jiu-jitsu, I was always so jealous of everyone I met who was like, yeah, I wrestled all through my childhood. And I was like, damn, that would have been fucking dope. That would have been a great base to have. But at the same time, it also like, it brought back that thing that baseball had imprinted in me of just like my competitive side and my really trying to like grind a sport to get good at it. And jiu-jitsu for me has been 100% that outlet. It's like, jiu-jitsu is a sport, but it's also something that you can spend your time getting good at. it's very mental. It's you're battling yourself a lot mentally, and I think that's important to do as an adult. It's like
Spicy stuck on.
practice discipline in that way. Jiu-Jitsu is also incredible for self-confidence, dude. If you like go out into the world, I mean, obviously this is not for right now because most Jiu-Jitsu gyms are closed and you probably shouldn't train right now. But if you go out into the world and you struggle with that, and I don't mean like a self-image sort of thing, but I mean just like you want to be confident in yourself and your ability to handle situations that might be like undesirable because those situations happen whether or not you want them to. And for me, Jiu-Jitsu immediately helped my self-confidence. How does it help you battle yourself mentally? Because you look at a person who you're training with and you start to think about why you should or shouldn't beat that person, like why they should be better than you or why you should be better than them, and you start to you have to get good at jiu-jitsu, you have to be able to block that out and just play your game, which gives you this sort of advantage in life where you're like you don't approach situations where you're like looking at someone and sizing them up, being like, you know what I mean? Like you just know that you're prepared. You spend the time preparing, you spend the time training so that when situations happen, whether they're good or bad or whatever, you just feel confident. It's hard to describe. I don't know. As a female, I think jiu-jitsu is so important to know. Listen, if I ever have a daughter, I'm taking her to jiu-jitsu class, straight up. I agree with you 100%. 100%. Again, this isn't limited to jiu-jitsu. I'm sure other like boxing and kickboxing, Muay Thai and stuff give you the same or a similar thing, you know? You have 2 daughters. Yeah, but they have 4 legs. They're not allowed in jiu-jitsu gyms. Actually, Peach has come to jiu-jitsu practice with me one time. She came to a private lesson and my coach was like in love with her. It's really cute. Is Peach a black belt? Yeah, she's a black belt. I grapple Peach and Bunny too. They hate it. Not necessarily related, and keep in mind I just got here, but y'all's BJJ videos are my absolute favorites. Oh, thank you, Paul. Thank you, dude. Thanks so much. Hope you're doing good. Combat IRL 90% of the time ends up on the floor. Wrestling and grappling beats striking. I agree with you, Oak. I agree with you. I watch, and this is not to like shift the conversation to anything like dark or weird, but I watch videos of, and you can take this as you will, but like videos where people are like security guards or police officers are trying to apprehend the bad guy in situations where there's actually a bad guy that needs to be taken down or apprehended or subdued. And you see these people who are paid to be able to do that and they don't fucking know what they're doing. They're panicking. They're like, they have no control over this person. And I'm looking at, I'm just thinking the tiniest amount of jiu-jitsu knowledge would go miles when it comes to security and law enforcement. It's amazing how just a few things learned would go so far in having effective, you know, people with badges, essentially. I don't know. It should be mandatory, dude. They should just, I mean, it should be mandatory. Like extensive firearms training and basic jiu-jitsu class is what every security guard and cop in the world should have to take. Every single one of them. Imagine you're going at a security guard and they pull a shrimp. Anyway, a de-escalation classes. Well, jiu-jitsu is in a lot of ways de-escalation, but yeah, you're right. You were right. I've been helping with the Jiu-Jitsu kids class. It's amazing for bullied kids and just building their confidence. I agree, Crab Rangoon. I love it so much. And again, it's one of those things I wish I did it as a kid too. What belt are you? I'm purple belt with a few stripes on it. I think I have 2 stripes or 3. I don't know. It's been a minute since I trained. The law won't allow me to. Do you grapple with glasses on? Fuck no. What do the stripes mean? Some schools do it, some schools don't, but it's a measure of like how long you've had a belt. So if you have a white belt and you have 4 stripes on it, that indicates that you've been a white belt for some time. Whereas if you had a white belt with no stripes on it, you're a new white belt. And then once you have 4 stripes, you're close to the blue belt, right? And then 4 stripes, purple, 4 stripes, brown, black. But some schools don't do stripes. It's just up to whoever is running the show.
Indeed.
Is there a way to train alone? Honestly, not really, which fucking, it's mainly why I miss it so much, because I can't really train alone. I can do drills and I can watch videos and I can buy a grappling dummy, but nah, there's like, no, you can't train alone. We tested for stripes. Yeah, I've never had to test for a belt or for stripes. Our coach would, the way our coach would give us our promotion, which I actually kind of love, he would, you know, for the most of the class, the coach is just walking around watching. And then at the end, when we're all free training, he'll sometimes grab people to train with, just to roll with them to see how they're doing. So what he'll do is he'll pick someone and he'll be like, all right, let's go. And you're rolling with them and you're training with your coach. And then all of a sudden he'll be like, you know, neon bellying you and you're like dying. And he just like pulls out his gi and his lapel, and inside is this new belt, and he hands it to you. And then everyone like gets up and claps, and it's like a whole thing. I really like how he does it. There's some theatrics to it, which I appreciate. We've never had to test though. I've never had to take a test for a belt. Kind of would hate to have to do that. So he kicks your ass and levels you up. Exactly. Yeah. Yep.